Hello, and welcome to M3 Live. My name is Malcolm Travers. Mail Media Mind is a grassroots organization dedicated to uplifting and unifying our community through dialogue, insight, creativity, and knowledge. And every Monday at noon, I'll have lunch with Devon, and we talk about shit that's going on in the culture and stuff that I might be bringing up on Wednesday. And also, if you're a patron, you got access to the Bearcast, which came out this morning, but everyone else will get it tomorrow. Welcome, Devon. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on, people? How y'all doing today?
Yeah, so I do have a feast of topics for us to go over, but as always, if there's anything else you want to bring up, feel free. In our audience, if you have anything that's going on in the news, maybe some Cyber Monday deals that I should know about. Because I was just thinking about this, like, them tariffs are going to be hitting next month. And
aren't they, man? And also, Trump's appointed judge, I just heard this morning on TikTok, has rejected the green cards program. So, even if you are here on a green card, or even I think it affects people who are married to people who are not legal as well. But if you're here on a green card, chances are you will be deported.
Yeah, the thing is, of course, that I know, thinking of several people I know who, and even just generally speaking, when people get here on a green card, they often have to be here illegally because the process of renewing your green card or becoming a citizen takes so long.
Yep.
That you're often always in a limbo state. And the question is whether they're going to, expend large amount of resources to deport people, which of course will also increase the price of everything. They were saying basically 40% of restaurant workers in the United States are undocumented. 40%. I was like, what? They're basically cutting the restaurant industry by 2/5. Like, what the fuck? That's crazy. Anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking about, we think about like agricultural foods, and obviously that would be a thing where people actually picking the vegetables and fruit, and that shit is hard ass work. Just like washing the dishes, mopping the floors, cooking your food, like all that shit. Anyway, not to get into all that. I tried to avoid some of it, but I guess I get into some news. But before we went live, I was talking to Devon about my aversion to some celebrity news. And so I have someone who is going on a rant about a celebrity gossip issue that was near to her. It had to do with Ariana Grande, but I cut out most of the references to the argument about Ariana because I don't know much about it. It has something to do with her being thin and being a negative body image issues for young women. But she was just talking about in general the idea that even if you don't like the discourse around celebrities, that at some point some stars just become so popular that we have no choice but to talk about it because it's actually influencing people's behaviors. Anyway, and so that's kind of what she's talking about, because you can say Ariana's on one right now because of Wicked is really good. Anyway, so here we go. I'm going to play this.
We need to talk about the concept of moral neutrality as it relates to binary thinking, okay? So this is a tool. It can also be a weapon. This is a medicine. It can also be a poison. Reading a cozy book can be self-care, but it can also be escapism. The only difference between a coup and a revolution is who you determine the oppressed people to be. Talking about yourself can be bragging, but it can also be a very genuine and natural instinct to share the joy and relief that comes with accomplishment. So in the same way, gossiping itself is a morally neutral thing that is defined by the specifics of the people in the situation. What I'm saying is that gossiping is quite often bad, but that doesn't always mean that it's always bad. That doesn't mean that it can't be how community looks out for each other too occasionally. It's not one or the other. It's both. And if you're a person that claims to care about others, maybe even somebody who cares about being community oriented, that means not caring about how people treat just you. But it also means caring about how other people treat other people and affect other people in the community. A large part of the way communities do that and maintain their social health is via the exchange of information of how members of the community may have treated others. Even if it's not your business business, because when you're collectively conscious, you understand that we all affect each other and that harm to one is harm to all. Personal note, I mean this in the most delicate way possible, but I genuinely feel sorry for people who can't conceive of a world where occasionally, not always, but occasionally talking about someone else is 100% always vindictive and shameful. That type of hyper-defensive and moral rigidity is in of itself like a lack of good faith in people. And a certain amount of good faith assumptions when it comes to humanity is what makes any type of discourse, not to mention evolution, possible. You say that we shouldn't be making statements on women's bodies, and I actually agree. But the point is that the statement has already been made by mainstream media's glorification of and refusal to even acknowledge possible concern. Silence is just as much of a statement as talking is. So this whole argument of not making statements on women's bodies is valid. But don't imply that the attempt at redirection and micro-correction in the form of a response to what is being pushed as the status quo is the only statement being made. Be so for real, okay? Just because I'm prioritizing the village doesn't mean I'm sacrificing the villager. That's the only options that you think you have, that it has to be either or, that it can't be both. Normal people do not affect society the same way that celebrities do. That's where the word influencer comes from. They do have more power to affect the village. So that means, unfortunately, sometimes the way that we interact with them in regards to social responsibility will be different. Is that healthy? No. Is that fair? No. But that is the point. Being a celebrity is fundamentally unnatural and unhealthy, but y'all don't want to have that conversation. The problem is not always the discourse people are having around celebrities. It's quite often actually the very nature of how fame inevitably removes said person from the same reasonable societal expectations as like non-famous people. Celebrities are people, yes, but when celebrities make a lot of money off your focus and your support, we are not in fact obligated to only and always praise them no matter what. And that also doesn't mean bullying them. This is nuance. Part of being a celebrity is accepting that your influence will be discussed, not just praised. That doesn't mean they are under like any obligation to do or say anything differently. That doesn't mean that they're not exempt from critique either. It doesn't matter if they are the nicest people in the world. They still have an impact. Intention over impact.
She was on one. She was kind of going. She kind of went in. But I enjoyed some of that. The idea of nuance is very difficult to have online because it's kind of like if you make a statement about something, it's right or it's wrong. I think it just it gets flattened. I think that's what a lot of people call it, where either you have the right position or you have the wrong position. You're on their side or you're on our side, and when you say something that people disagree with, it gets a lot of attention. And so I think people are also incentivized to say a lot of wrong things loudly, it does work. But at the same time, it's like, there is nuance, right? Like you can say that someone is influencing the culture in a bad way, and you don't think that they're a bad person for doing it. Like this is what, they need to do to be a star, like this is what works for Hollywood in pop culture. Like, and if you want to be successful, that's what you need to do. And not be mad about it. I remember it's kind of going off the subject, but also just dealing with like culture and Hollywood and stuff. This one woman went on a rant about sort of the unoriginality of the movie industry right now, and just saying like towards the end of the year, someone made the point.
Give me 1 second. I gotta grab something.
Okay, so toward the end of the year, someone made the point that nearly most of the movies that came out this year were a rehash or a sequel of a previous movie, and I think obviously since I've been alive, most of the movies that have come out have been some sort of unoriginal IP, a continuation of a storyline that has been, recently, put out. But it was also like a continuation of sequels, right? Movies that didn't necessarily need sequels, remakes that didn't necessarily need remakes. They were talking about some of these animated movies that are being turned into live action movies, and just being like, why do we need the live action version of this movie, other than the fact that it's going to make a lot of money, right? It's And of course, people just kind of went in on them because people love these movies, right? The sequels and the live action remakes are incredibly popular. Um, and you get dragged for that if you say something unpopular online. But at a certain point, like someone does need to say something about it, even though I'm of the opinion that I kind of like the rehashes. So I'm not even on this woman's side, right? I kind of like remakes. I kind especially if it's something that I like. It doesn't really remove anything for me um from the originals. Like if you want to make 10 versions of the same movie, um I'll just pick the one I like the most and watch that one. But I think a lot of people feel that if there was a version of the movie um that they liked more than the original, then that meant that there wasn't going to be as much space made for the original, right? Or that people will, I don't know, um, misdirect some of their attention away from the original, I guess, and it changes the way that people view the original content. So, um, that was coming out. I think there was a lot of discourse about the How to Train Your Dragon remake, just because of some of like the I guess one of the new stars of the movie is going to be biracial, when in the cartoon they were white. But beyond that, no one really actually talks about the need for the live action movie. Because I don't know, I'm going to enjoy it, but it is kind of interesting for people to think that I don't know, like maybe it's going too far. Uh, the remakes and that sort of content. But let me see. Uh, you see one of these remix here, or one of the content here. Um, but yeah, no, it's. I was thinking about going back to the main person's content. I've had a love hate relationship with celebrity gossip news in general because I think that there is a instructive moment that people can have when dealing with celebrity news, because it's something that most everyone in our culture knows something a little bit about. And so I think that's where the pull of talking about celebrities comes from me. Like you can have conversations about, serious topics and things
Mm-hmm.
based on um, some of the things that people talk about, if you are aware of that content.
Yeah, I don't know why my camera's not coming back on. I
Uh, I can hear you.
Okay, but I don't know what's going on with my camera. Unless I tried to uh go in and go out and come back in, it's still not working. I don't know. This thing has been giving me a little bit of issues today for some reason.
Yeah. Well, you can try on your phone if you want.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, but no, I was just saying that I'm thinking about getting into some of the um, you know, celebrity news just a little bit to be able to talk about certain things, but at the same time, like I have so many other interests that it doesn't typically work out for me in that way. Because
Okay.
yeah, there you go. Trust me, I know about technical stuff. So I'm gonna move on though. The next topic is almost on the same thing. It's just about discourse in public, and yeah, basically talking about the conservatives coming out of the closet, I guess you could say. And okay, I'm gonna go play this real quick.
As someone who's merely an observer of discourse, a really truly interesting side effect of Trump's win is this new rise in individuals that feel emboldened to speak up about their truly unpopular opinions, and realizing that they do have a lot more support than they realize in having these opinions. I think Trump's win, and subsequently the people that came out of the woodwork expressing support for him, is really revealing to individuals in that camp of like, I have these truly unpopular opinions. Society has really been too PG. I feel like I haven't really been able to speak up about the things I truly think and feel. They're coming out, and it's been really interesting in my opinion. Mostly because I don't really exactly, agree with a lot of the outcry saying that this is a bad thing. I do see this as society recalibrating. I do agree that in a lot of avenues, we've tried to create a society that really isn't matching the real world. And, a lot of the language, especially, in the US, of trying to not offend everyone, trying to make sure that everyone feels included and accepted, has really beautiful intentions. And I agree with the intentions. However, policing is policing, and in attempts of making a more egalitarian world where everyone feels more comfortable, we've become the sort of like authoritarian police monsters, but on the other end. And so it does make sense that, for better or for worse, these people are coming out and they are finally saying, this is how I truly think and feel. And honestly, a lot of people truly think and feel this way. I think there's something healthy about recalibrating society back to that, because I do believe that a lot of people have not been really honest and have not been really true, and have kind of pretended to go along. But yeah, no, come out. I want to hear you. I want to hear what you truly think and feel. I want to hear what most people truly think and feel, because I don't think it's been really healthy to live this fake reality that we've been living in.
So I kind of agree, but I also disagree. I agree in the sense that I do feel like people who are conservative, who have unpopular, racist, bigoted opinions, felt some sort of pressure not to say those things in public. My only thing is that I think the reason why they felt the reason not to say those things in public is because they knew that there would be consequences for them. And I don't know if those consequences were manufactured. I think they were genuine on the parts of people like us now. Like after the election, people were saying like, oh, we can't be friends if you voted for Trump. I'm not going to Thanksgiving dinner. I'm not inviting you over for, Christmas. I ain't got shit to do with you because, and those are the consequences. I think, but what she's getting at is that they're also recognizing that a majority of the voting population sided with their beliefs. And so I think they feel like they have a critical mass of people who agree with them on their opinions, that they have somewhere to go in society and in the public discourse to talk about these things. And now we're actually running into what other people are saying. I think, second of all, I think they were saying these things in their own little groups, in their own little bubbles. I mean, if you've ever been in a Reddit thread, like some of those 4chan sites, Twitter is that way now. That's why a lot of people are fleeing its field with some of this vitriol and and they're saying it publicly enough. It's available on the internet. There's no gatekeeping of it. It's a publicly available webpage. But we were siloed into our own different bubbles, and now that Trump is going back to the White House, I feel like a lot of those people feel it's okay for them to say it in public. I just feel like I don't feel like this is a recalibration of the public discourse the way that she did. I just think that the calculus as to whether what they said was going to be accepted has changed because, the election results kind of prove that they're in the majority. Yeah, they've always been in the majority though. Like she said, I guess a lot of people just didn't want to get in trouble. I think Swag had one of the funniest examples of this when he was talking about, his friends and family have a group chat, and one of his girlfriends had a new boyfriend at the time. This was some years ago, who felt like he was being bullied because in the group chat they talked about politics.
Oh boy.
And he never said anything pro-Trump or anything, but he just felt like y'all are so mean because y'all always talking shit about Trump.
Oh.
Yeah, we are, and I don't think we're gonna change that.
Sir, at that moment, it should have been Molly, you in danger, girl. Because the moment you opened your mouth and said that y'all are so mean against things against Trump, sir, and you're in a room full of people who are against Trump, no, sir, you might as well have just cut your own wrist and then and then threw your hand in a pool of shark infested pool of waters, because they come up for you.
I think this was after they had broken up and he had left the group, right? So like he didn't dare say this. He knew what was up. He knew that Trump shit was unpopular. But from their point of view, it's like I should be able to say whatever it is I want to say, even though it's unpopular. Like, no, you should suffer the consequences for that. Like, this whole idea some people have of there being freedom of speech, they think that applies to individual people or the consequences from your dumb ass speech. Like, and then you can't help it. You can't help how people feel or react to that. I don't know. I'll give you an example. I haven't really thought about this much until recently with some of the right-wing attacks on banning books from public libraries. Right?
Oh boy.
So that didn't really bother me until recently, because now I'm actually starting to go to the library again. I'm writing a book of my own, and I want to read a lot more at a decent price. And so I go to my library and I go to see what they have on offer. And I realize, like, they don't have those books. They don't have the books that I want because they're too controversial. Like, I'm like, oh. But luckily, there's like interlibrary loan. Like, the libraries across the country will ship them across the country. Anyway, but still, that's like a hassle I didn't have to go through before Trumpsters, got to the libraries, and so it has real world consequences. Or considering about how I think medicine is going to be one of the areas in which, it's going to affect people a lot. I think healthcare, Obamacare or the American Affordable Care Act was one of those things that conservatives went after for serious reasons, because I believe the way that it seemed to favor minority communities.
Yep.
Right. So, like, they didn't want to pay for our healthcare, and it basically meant everyone had worse healthcare. And when they talk about making cuts to the federal budget, that's one of the first cuts. It's going to be for healthcare. I mean, like, because it's expensive. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. That's basically if they're going to make cuts, that's where they're coming from.
Right. And it's funny how people on TikTok and on the internet were like, wait, that's the healthcare that my mom uses for her treatment. So that's the healthcare that I use for my family. Oh, you didn't? How did you not know this? How did you not know what kind of insurance you were using to take care of you and your family? How did you not know that Obamacare is the Affordable Care Act? But you
right.
And now they're talking about, Trump is going to cut it, and now I'm concerned, how am I going to pay my health care? You should have thought about that before you decided to go in that booth. But
and it's not an isolated incident. So many people made that mistake where they lived in their little bubbles. And I think that is one thing where this woman is right about, is that when these people come out, maybe there will be some sharing of ideas, because when these people were pushed out of the public square and into their own little bubbles, that sort of information did not seep in. Obamacare being the Affordable Care Act, or, just did not hit. They also inflated the idea of how expensive it would be. There are cost concerns, clearly. I mean, paying for healthcare is complicated, and it can get complicated. It really can. And so they exploit the fears of those complications to the point where people really do think that it's just a bad idea to do something that every other industrialized nation on earth does. Like, even Mexico. That sounds horrible, but y'all think that Mexico's horrible. They have healthcare better than we do. You know what I'm saying? Like,
they do. So. A lot of places have better healthcare than we do.
I know.
But people think that, oh, it's America and we have the best of this. We don't have lately. I'm gonna say it like this. Lately, America has not had the best of anything. Well, I ain't gonna say anything, but a lot of things that we think we have the best of, America does not have it because there's too many changes. Like, how do you cut funding in schools? How do you cut funding in healthcare? How do you and then expect to keep these things afloat the way that people are used to? Like, y'all really need to think about the long-term effects of your decisions, not just the short term, not just because, oh, you think someone did this and someone did that, or you're convinced that somebody's going to fix the country because you don't want certain things here or you want certain things done. But you have to think about the long-term effect as well.
Yeah. So I don't know. How do you have you ever had to deal with Trumpsters online yourself?
Yeah. So there is one that I didn't know he was a Trumpster until it happened, until the election. I was like, oh, you're one of those. Oh.
Yeah.
And he talking about what rights are going to be taken away from you? And the thing about it is that they're black. That's what bothered me even more. But the only reason why I have not unfollowed them because I want to see what their expressions are going to be when shit does hit the fan with Trump, and I'm just going to be like, oh, but no, a few months ago you were all Trump, you were Team Trump, you wanted this, but now you're singing a very much different tune. I'm like, what happened? What happened, sir? But because I want to be like, told you so. But no, you talking about something. Well, what rights is going to be taken away from you? And he's not a racist. He likes black people. No, he don't. No, he don't. Stop it. Stop the madness.
Yeah, so that one does boggle my mind. Like, what does someone have to do to be racist in your mind? Like, I don't.
Like, I swear that the way these people think that if Trump was to come up in their face, spit in their face, and call them a nigger to their face, they'd be like, "Yes, President Trump, I am." They would agree with him. They really would. And if he spit in their face, they'd be like, "You know what? That is the best presidential spit in my face. I will accept that. I will not retaliate." I swear that's the way I feel about these people. And I just be like, so you will let this man literally degrade you in your face?
Yeah,
but he's not racist. Okay.
I would say like two examples to me. I think obviously the one they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs. I mean, that's a clearly racist, not even dog whistle. But the one that really got me was when he was introducing, was it a state senator in Florida?
Mm-hmm.
And he goes like, "Oh, he's one of the good ones." He's not, they're not all good. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I was like, "Damn, bro! Like he's gonna come out and just be racist as fuck like that." Okay.
And then when the what was it, the Park 5 or the Central 5? He talking about so they should all be put to death for what they did. They were innocent though. Yeah. They came out to be innocent. You still said put them to death. If that does not wake y'all up to what's really going on, I fear for those that these black people and these Hispanic people, anybody that's not white and not straight, I feel for y'all. I really do. Y'all gonna get that wide awakening. But
yeah, no, not only that, like they sued. I think one of them is actually suing again for defamation. I think another one of them actually ran for Congress and won, which I think is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it is. Yeah, it's a long-standing, 40-year-old, blood libel, really, and was a racist dog whistle because back then, it was just an assumption that there had to have been. I don't know, like the way that race was portrayed in the 80s. I'm thinking about the fact that I was even conscious and aware of it at the time was like, I was a child, but I do remember. I didn't understand it, and it's funny looking at it now as an adult is like, like so bad. It was race baiting at its best or worst, however you put it. And he, was at the center of it. He's trying to be a populist hero even back then, even if he was considered liberal at the time. But that was just a way of doing it. It's like, protect white women. That was kind of the idea behind it. But anyway,
wow.
I know. I'm going to move on since the world is a dumpster fire. I got some tips for you guys from a licensed therapist about how to maybe improve your mental health, and we're going to talk about it.
Survive the dumpster fire a little bit better. Yeah, let's do that.
These are really good tips. I'm just going to go through them. There are five ways you can improve your mental health almost right away. All right,
5 ways to become mentally stronger from a licensed therapist. Number 1, recognize when things are outside of your control. This one's hard, but it's key. So often, outcomes are out of our hands, yet we convince ourselves that even a tiny bit of influence means full responsibility. Instead, try focusing on what you can control. Judge yourself by how well you did what's within your reach and let go of the rest. Number 2, think usefully, not positively. It's tempting to focus on positive thinking, but sometimes that can lead to overconfidence. And while we don't want to stay stuck in negativity, what we need is something more practical. Ask yourself, is this thought useful? This reframes your mindset, helping you stay efficient and mindful rather than getting sidetracked by unrealistic optimism or pessimism. Number 3, learn to detach from your thoughts. This idea by Dr. Stephen Hayes from Acceptance and Commitment Therapy suggests practicing detachment by turning your thoughts into silly voices or imagining them in playful fonts. This makes it easier not to take your thoughts too seriously, helping them lose some of their emotional charge. Number 4, go on a positive scavenger hunt. At the end of the day, try to think of every small positive thing that happened. When you think you're done, push yourself to find 3 or 4 more. This can feel like those last few push-ups. It's tough, but it's where your brain really starts rewiring itself to see the world with realistic optimism. Number 5, do one thing a day outside of your comfort zone. This could mean taking on a task that you're not totally sure you can handle, or maybe it's putting yourself in a new social situation. It's anything that risks a negative emotion or lets you sit with discomfort until it passes. Doing this regularly teaches your brain that you can step outside of your comfort zone, and this is where real growth happens.
Yeah. All of these are really good. So I'm just going to go down the list. First, the big daddy of positive change in your life is recognizing the things you have control over and the things you don't have control over, and learning how to accept the things you can't control. And obviously, and I think the last one, which he was getting at, is stepping out of your comfort zone, is the idea of trying to make positive steps forward on the things you can and do have control over, even if they seem difficult. So I think, the first and last one kind of go together. Recognizing things you don't have control over and having the courage to, try even the smallest little thing to change the things you can. And recognizing that just because you have a small amount of control doesn't mean that things are going to turn your way. And acceptance of things doesn't mean that you have to like the outcome. It does mean, I thought about it this way. Someone, there's a book on Buddhism, using the terms like and love in different ways. Like acceptance could also be called love, and your opinion of something is something you would call like, right? So like thinking about your body, accepting your body is also the same as saying loving your body. Loving your body is not the same as liking your body. You know what I mean? Loving your body is saying like, this is me, this is who I am, and it is perfect just the way it is. I don't have to like every little thing about it, but I am going to, ride this thing to the best of its ability and do, with it what I can. And you can do that in almost any aspect of your life. And accepting things doesn't mean you like them. Another one I liked, 2 things he said about your thoughts, which I thought were pretty good. One was like not accepting every thought that you have negative thoughts, reframing them as kind of silly voices or characters. I remember one of them. I think it might have been from South Park, and it was something like the accountability panda or something like the grief panda, and it was like a funny thing. It's like everything in your life is going to die, and you're going to be sad.
Right.
Like all the negative thoughts, like reframe them as Teletubbies saying them to you. It's like everybody hates you. And you're
Right. Like like I was watching the Super Mario Brothers movie last night for the second time.
Yeah, I love that movie. Yeah.
And the part where that I forgot what he is. Is it a flame or a star? The blue one that's like there is no hope and you will die. What is hope? Time, like anything else, is an illusion. Like,
I would say
you
like
are going to die. And they were like, who was this ray of sunshine? And they're like, yeah, after tonight the sun went on. He was so happy but so tragic at the same time. It was like, wait, and then when they were about to die, he's like, "Woohoo, the end is coming!" And then when it's time, oh darn, he's so disappointed that he wasn't going to die. I was like, wait, who is this?
That was a great movie. The funny thing is, I know a lot of people didn't. I don't know. They thought it was like a little too much fan service. I thought it was the best amount of fan service ever. It was just so nostalgic and it was hilarious. And not only that, just I love the look of the movie too. It just was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was like, anyway, yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
that and the other one that he was talking about was, instead of trying to, being a positive thinker, first of all, reframing negative thoughts as funny, cartoonish type stuff. But then positive thoughts, like if you want to think positively, rather than thinking in terms of the absolute most positive things, thinking in terms of what is useful, because like if you have this absolute positive thought where I sometimes see some people's, positive thinking as being ridiculous, like I'm going to be an NBA player with $1 billion and a boat. Like, is that a useful thought? Like, in what world is that actually useful to your daily, behavior? Now, I guess you get to define what useful is. So, like, if that motivates you in some way, like if you are able to believe those thoughts and they actually provide you some utility, I think that's really the key, right? So for me, the extremely positive thoughts are useless for me because I immediately bat those bitches down. I'm like, that's not real. That's not gonna happen. But I think the best way of looking at that is, are these thoughts useful, whether they are positive or negative? If you're motivated by negative thoughts, put that bitch in your tank and drive that as far as you can. Like, seriously, we're all different. So I just feel like that is one of those that useful as a criteria rather than, because I get a little frustrated by people who are just all about positivity or whatever.
Yeah, I understand, because I look, when people do that to me, I'd be like, so do you realize, just like last week when I made a post, because like there's been a lot coming at me. Now I'm a happy chipper person on the outside, but on the inside, I'm like, if one more thing happens, I think I'm going to scream and just crash out and just lose it on someone, right? So
you just wanted some solidarity with say, like, look, I need
right. And I made a post because there's been a lot, especially with my mom and her health right now. And my family dealing with that. And one person was like, and I said, today is just not a good day for me. I am liable to crash out on anybody who triggers that, who pushes that button. And they came back. I get they were trying to be sarcastic and funny with they were trying to make me laugh.
Yeah.
But it didn't work. And I said, no, this joke is not helping right now. And they tell me about some, well, why are you being so negative? Don't let that thoughts consume you. And I just want to tell them, like, look, do not tell me, first of all, do not tell me how to feel right now. That is not helping either. Like, I get that you're trying to help, but you're not helping, okay? Because to tell me to not let the negative thoughts affect me or whatever, like sometimes sometimes people need to feel what they need to feel at the moment because it's going to help them process and get through things. Tell them like, oh, don't think like that. Don't feel this way. This is going to work out. But there has to be a dose of reality in there too. Like right now, I am feeling like this, and you're telling me to do the opposite, which also doesn't work for me because I'm an Aquarius and we have our rebellious moments too. Like, don't tell me how to feel, because if you tell me how to feel, I'm gonna do the opposite. Don't do that. Don't, please don't. Okay. And I want to crash out so bad. I'm just like, I took a deep breath. I'm like, and I just said thank you because I get what you were trying to do. My bad feelings are not towards you, you know.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
At the same time, you can get it too. you were just hitting it, like
that's pretty good.
You can get it too, okay? But I just breathed. I was just like, oh, God. Why?
So it's funny that I would say the last one on this list is something I haven't done, but I might try. He called it the positive scavenger hunt.
I have done that before. Like they'll say, you know, think of 3 to 8 moments where something happy happened in your life, or 1 to 10 moments. And I heard that because it's even said in Deadpool when was it Deadpool who said it? Oh no, it was Colossus trying to tell Deadpool, think of 3 moments in your life that were positive and that you were happy and this, that, the third. He said 3 moments. 3 fucking moments. We talk about 3 moments where I just felt happy and had the most positive thoughts because Deadpool was frustrated. I get it. Try to find something positive in the negative. I get it. So I've done that quite a few times.
It's the way you look at things, and I will do the smallest things because I know like it's just about reorienting your mind away from the negativity. You know, it's not saying that because there's obviously positive things that are happening, but the negative things may be overshadowing what's going on. So you're not denying the negativity. You're just like pointing out the positive things. So I would think like this for myself. Probably my favorite thing, especially when I'm depressed, is falling asleep. That moment right before you fall asleep and you just feel good.
Yeah.
Like, how can you not love that? Just like, that's a great feeling. I think another one is food. I mean, that's not whatever. I have food to eat today. I know, like, this is one of those things that you know, when you think about positive things, watching a funny cat video. I saw one today where these tigers were in a zoo and it was snowing and they were all slipping around because there was ice on the ground. It was hilarious.
Yeah,
like big old tigers slipping and falling. I was like, this is so cute. Look at the little killing machines. Oh, slipping and sliding.
Not killing machines.
They are absolute killing machines. Those things will fucking destroy anything that moves. And they can't even walk. It's hilarious. So I mean, yeah, the fact that I have internet access, you know, I think one video was like, so you realize like 2 billion people on this planet don't even have internet access. Not to mention a phone. Yeah. Like nearly a third or 1/4 of the world's population doesn't even have internet. So, so yes, I'm happy about my relative, you know, indoor plumbing, electricity, all of those could be on your positivity scavenger hunts. Because I will tell you the quickest feeling of helplessness will happen when a storm hits and your power goes out. and you ain't got, no water or running water or electricity. Like, oh damn, I can't do shit.
This is why I always have my chargers charged up, just in case my store comes. Like, okay, I got my portable chargers; they're charged up.
That might be something I get.
My headphones are charged up. So as long as I got some kind of internet on my phone, I'm good. And for music, I'm good.
Thinking about Black Friday sales, I might get a generator. That's a good idea because fucking storms are coming. Tornado season in next month. Yes. Oh god.
And hurricane season is still around. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. So on this next one, I've got one more video and then we'll go to Patreon. This one is about a book I have not read called Bullshit Jobs. But I've been getting recommendations repeatedly. And I've been reading a book on from Abraham Maslow, talking about the hierarchy of human needs and finding meaning in your life. And one of the things that he talks about is finding meaning in your work. Is probably the way that we find meaning, mostly in our relationships, but then in what we do at work. And this book was just saying there is a large portion of jobs in the United States that just are completely meaningless. I'm going to play this right here.
I'm finally reading this book after so many people told me to. Bullshit Jobs, A Theory by David Graeber. Wow. So his theory, in short, his thesis is basically that so many people are working bullshit jobs. And they even know that they're bullshit. Here's his working definition. A bullshit job is a form of paid employment that is so completely pointless, unnecessary, or pernicious that even the employee cannot justify its existence, even though, as part of the conditions of employment, the employee feels obliged to pretend that this is not the case. I.e., all of us, and we just click-clack on our emails all day, and we answer the fire drills from our managers, and we have convinced ourselves that we are either A, doing something important, or that B, it's fine to do something that we don't care about, where the employers and the heads of these companies convince us that these jobs are doing something, and that this is a system that is obviously so much larger than us. He published part of this, before this book was a book, he wrote an essay about this. Huge swaths of people spend their days performing tasks they secretly believe do not really need to be performed. It's as if someone were out there making up pointless jobs for the sake of keeping us all working. The moral and spiritual damage that comes from this situation is profound. It is a scar across our collective soul, yet virtually no one talks about it. How can one even begin to speak of dignity in labor when one secretly feels one's job should not exist? Unless you just think this is the author's subjective opinion. People did research to be like, is there statistical evidence of this truth that so many jobs are bullshit jobs? Yes, there is. A YouGov poll, which asks Britons the question, does your job, quote, make a meaningful contribution to the world? 37% said that they believed their job does not. A similar poll in Holland said almost the exact same thing. 40% of Dutch workers reported that their job had no good reason to exist. Cannot wait to keep reading this. I am fired up. As someone who has been in many bullshit jobs over the years.
So I haven't read the book, but this is one that I need to get on library loan. I couldn't get it at my local library, but he has 5 categories of bullshit jobs, which I think are funny. He broke them down into this: flunkies, goons, duct tapers, box tickers, and taskmasters.
Wow.
Okay, so the flunkies are people who are hired to make someone else seem important. E.g., someone who is a receptionist for someone but never actually needs to do anything.
Wow.
Flunkies. Then you have goons. These are jobs that are there because of the complexities of the marketplace, but rarely do they add any value to try to make a competitive field more level. Things like corporate consultants, PR representatives, lobbyists rarely actually add anything to the whole thing. Okay, then you have duct tapers. These are jobs that are designed to fix problems that could probably be fixed by reducing inequality or inefficiencies in the system itself, rather than fixing them one problem at a time. E.g., people who handle inefficiencies in the system that could just be better designed. Those are the duct tapers. Then you have box tickers. These are jobs that are based on their roles and must be filled regardless of whether they're needed or not, such as to cover certain regulations or, to fit some sort of compliance. Box tickers. And then taskmasters, managers whose primary job is to supervise or manage employees who could probably fairly complete their work independently. Basically, once people whose job it is to make sure someone else does their job. So yeah, I think those are hilarious. I think there is a deeper thing when he said like it's a scar on the collective soul of society that so many people work jobs that have little or no meaning. Like if you cannot really see that what you do all day contributes in some larger way, like you may not notice it and you're just happy that you have a job, that you have a paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're not finding some sort of meaning outside of work, which a lot of times people don't have time to find meaning outside of work,
Nope.
That's a big hole in your life. We as human beings have this sort of need to feel that we contribute to a collective whole. That's why we have the internet and technology and rocket ships and stuff, is because we, as just by our very nature, want to contribute to something bigger than ourselves.
Yeah.
And so typically most things in capitalism do, like even if you were just someone who worked the ice cream machine at Dairy Queen, like you make people happy by.
I remember there was a video about that not too long ago.
Yeah. Like you make people happy every day. Like how often do we go into the fast food and the ice cream machine is broken and we're sad?
Right.
So on the other side of that is someone who gets to make people happy all day. I mean, it's a shitty fucking job, but dude, you literally make people happy every day. You hand them some ice cream.
Right.
You're like, here's your blizzard. Like, yay! So I don't know. It has a trade-off, and I think we get poorly paid because of that. People who just genuinely contribute to society. I think the best example is school teachers.
Yeah.
Commiserate with their education, they get paid about 1/3 what they should get paid. Because typically a school teacher requires a bachelor's degree. Some of them require master's degrees.
Mm-hmm.
And typically people in corporate or work with that level of education are making 3 times what a school teacher makes. So, and I think most of that is because school teachers get an immense amount of joy in shaping the minds of young people.
Yeah.
And there is a sense of purpose in that, and capitalism exploits it. It's like,
very much they do.
Yeah. So like, yeah, we're not gonna pay you as much because you're getting paid in love. It's like love
like interns, we get paid in experience. Oh, for free experience. So for free, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
And they will like when they when people do that at employment, they do interns and they will make the intern do the most scut work ever, like go get coffee, go do this, go do that. And I'm just like, this person is here to learn, not be your little errand person, but
yeah,
I guess
No, I did that too. Like when I was getting into the newspaper business, I had to intern for like 6 weeks before I could, not 6 weeks, 6 months before I could actually get a paid position. And it was a lot of that scut work, but at the same time, it did give you inside information as to the actual way and things worked rather than the way they say they work, like who actually chooses the headlines for your papers. It's not the writer, it's the person who does the layout of the paper, like who actually makes the decisions as to what stories get assigned to which people, because
right.
There's an official answer and then there's the real answer. Like if you're paying attention to these things while you're getting coffee, it does help. when you eventually get a role. Now, mind you, they are exploiting you. They are, because at the time this was sort of a prestigious job, at least in the minds of a young person. I later realized like this is bullshit, but whatever.
Right.
It's like, I'm much better, in corporate America, not in the journalism. But still, I get it. There is a point at which you just have to, or I say you don't have to. I find it comforting to know that is the operating system of capitalism, is to exploit its workers, and yet at times part of the exploitation of workers leaves these gaps where people are employed and left doing nothing, either nothing of importance or nothing that really matters. Like they said, I think I did that one time, being an executive assistant, and I literally just, I did the work of an answering machine, Except, I was a living answering machine. Like, you could literally just have a recorder do this. I don't understand why it exists.
Right.
It's just that people rather reach a real human being than a machine. And so that's what my job was a living recording machine. I don't, it's like, whatever. Okay. Oh God. But thinking about that, before we go, we're going to go to Patreon in a second. Did you hear about the granny bot that,
granny bot
that wastes scammers' time? So it's an AI bot that you can purchase on your phone. I think it's an app you can download on your phone. And if it's like a scammer, like a someone who's trying to either sell you something or get you on something, it's a thing that sounds like an old woman. And it will talk to these people for hours as they try to sell you stuff and waste their time, instead of like hanging up on them or blocking scam callers. It's like scamming the scammers. I was like, oh my God. Like, oh, honey, tell me more about that. I don't understand. Tell me more. It's a scammer bot. Scammy Grammy, I guess.
Wow. Or you get the ones that sound like a robot. Like, those. I'd be like, hi. And then there'll be a pause. Hello, we're here to finalize your health care. I'm like, I didn't apply for any health care. What are you talking about? What is going on?
That's hilarious. If I could get my robot to talk to their robot and they just have a robot conversation. But I heard about it on the news this morning. It was hilarious. I might have to download that because I think, I want to kind of get back at them for wasting my time
right.
But on that note, we are going to go to Patreon. Make sure to check out Devon's show. Did you have one yesterday? I didn't see if you did.
No, we didn't, because at the last minute, people we just had other issues going on, like personal things going on. So everybody was somebody got sick, 2 other people had to do other things. I'm like, oh, okay, well, guess today's show won't happen.
Look forward to next week.
On
Sunday at 5. Make sure to catch Devon. And of course, I have my show coming up Wednesday at 7. I know it's the holidays. It's bound to happen. I got my podcast out today for our patrons. If you want to catch the regular audio version, that comes out tomorrow on all the podcatchers.
We did have a comment though.
Okay, go ahead. Put that
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but it was from Sammy. We didn't want to not say that we didn't acknowledge Sammy, because he'll probably become more chaotic than he already is. I was just watching Luke Beasley. He was interviewing some Gen Z Trumpster white female who felt the N-word is just a word and we should get over it. I wanted to hit her with the word cunt.
Oh my goodness.
Appreciate the compliment, sir. But
that is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Yeah.
It's just a word. Okay, so if somebody came up to you and called you all kinds of degrading female things, would you think it's just a word there?
Yeah. And this is just the thing. When it comes to personal affronts and the way that things make people feel, it doesn't really matter if you think people shouldn't feel the way they do, because they do feel the way they do, and you clearly do not understand enough about American history to understand the power of racism, because you're saying racist shit. So yeah, just sit down.
Please, just
I just thought about this. I finished a course on American history. I take these courses from this company called The Great Courses, and it's rough, man. Like just getting through African American history in general. Like it was from the transatlantic slave trade up to the Civil War, and just talking about like famous people in history and Black American history, and just it's just a lot of violence, a lot of degradation, a lot of like I can't believe, like, am I going to get through this course? Like, and I guess it's no wonder why white people don't know this shit, because even as a Black person, I have difficulty stomaching all of this. So anyway, beyond that, join us on Patreon. We have the after shows for our patrons. We also have Telegram rooms, which I try to keep spicy and neutral. We have both, and we have a Discord server that eventually we're going to learn how to use, because I don't really know how to use Discord, but it's there. And we're going to go to Patreon now and have our after show. Thank you everybody for joining us. We're on all the platforms. I gotta do some more promoting of our stuff.
Yeah,
I'm working on it.
I need to get with the other guys, and we need to eat. And also get with Swag, but we need to do an actual outro either before next year or at the beginning of next year.
Okay,
but that's a lot of footage to go through.
What did you want in your outro?
That's the other part too. Like I don't really know.
Okay.
But I know it's gonna like show us doing stuff, of course, and a little bit of our own individual things that we like. So it'll be interesting.
It's basically showing who's the regular on your show.
Yeah.
While they're okay, got you.
Yeah.
So something we got to do, is to make sure we get your cams recorded. When you go live, there's a button that you can switch on, and when you're in the live studio, the very last button down there is recording. You see it, and it shows our individual cameras recording. That gives us a lot more footage that we can work with. One of the things I've been doing is, what I'm trying to do is go through the footage, download it, shrink it down, because it's usually like too high a frame rate and bit rate and resolution, to get it smaller so that I can put it into Telegram, and then I put those in the M3 recordings groups so that each of us can make our own promo materials. Well, we got another comment.
Yeah, he says, I don't know how y'all stay consistent, but y'all do every weekend. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah,
I consider your show's appointment viewing. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, it's good to be. I get a lot out of doing it myself, and it is rough. I'm glad Greg is taking a break, because he'll be back stronger once he gets done.
Yeah, and so that people don't think and then they don't realize that burnout does happen.
Yeah,
especially in Greg's case after the election. Yeah, he needed a break, and I understand. Like, I even need a break sometimes. So, like yesterday was a blessing in disguise, because I was like, okay, I did not feel like doing the show yesterday.
Yeah,
but I was pushing myself through to get through all the content that we've been missing before the year ends, because our last show of the year will actually be on the 15th of December. So it's like after that we take our break and then we come back, I think around the 5th of January or so. So
Now,
yeah.
this is something I was just thinking about for year-end content that I don't do. I've done it in the past because we've been doing this for about 10 years. Oh my God. Anyway, is a year-end review, you know, like one of those reels. It takes so much work to do, though. Like go back to the whole year.
But you know what? We gotta get. I want to get with Swag and see how he did his because he did a good one. You know, he did the one before he moved. He did like a whole bunch of videos together.
Yeah, it was
and
too.
I wanted something like that, but for like the end of the year because it's a lot. Like in a year, you record a lot of content. You talk about a lot of different things.
Yeah.
So, but I will talk. We will have a year review. Our last show would be like, you know, what has been the highlight for you this year as being a nerd and a blurred and stuff like that. Like, what has been your best game? What has been your best show? What has been like down to your best scene or something, your best memory. So yeah.
That is a good one. Like so far off the top of your head, what would you say was your favorite show this year?
Okay, regardless of whether it's been new or old, I would have to say, okay, so I've been, oh my God, my favorite show this year actually had to be, it had to be Agatha All Along on Disney Plus. Honestly,
that's not a bad choice. I thought it was incredible. It really was. Like I thought like the levels there. That show actually has levels. You know. Like you could watch it on the surface level, but then like on a deeper level, it was about mythology itself, you know, as they were talking about the mythology of witches and all these little Easter eggs about like different witches in popular culture. And then when you get down to the core of the legend of the Witch's Road, so to speak,
right?
You know, and it's literally about mythology. And I was just like, holy shit, this is amazing. It is beautiful.
Right. Yes, and the core is like
it's so good. It's so good. It really is. That is not a bad choice. I would definitely put that up there. I think Cross has been one of my favorite shows.
Bro, okay, so look, I'm telling you, Cross is a good show. It is a good show mentally and emotionally and everything. But let's get the obvious elephant in the room as far as us being gay men. Goddamn, them men have asses on them, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, they do.
It's a beautiful black man,
right? I was like,
but it's a deep psychological thing about like denial and grief and how you know you have these sort of generational like curses when it comes to grief and how it can be passed down, you know,
right?
You know, sort of the denial of, I don't know. I also enjoyed like the theme of like the killer and the detective trying to get in each other's heads, you know,
right?
Like living rent free in each other's heads. Like it was the kind of theme they started from the beginning. And how like when he went to that dude's birthday party, like how he flipped the script on him and got in his head. I was like, ooh. I was like, that was one of my favorite episodes of television, period. Like when he left that place mad as fuck. He was like, oh my God.
The Lore of Agatha was great. Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely one of the top tier TV shows. Yes, I got along. And he said, you mean the elephant trunk? Yes, okay, because look, I am sorry. Like, I know the show, and it has a lot of things with mental health as well. Like everybody kept telling him, "You're not dealing with your wife's death the way that you know you should," because he wasn't getting help. He was trying to. His biggest thing was he wanted to find solace in catching her murderer. That's where he was at. Like, and because when you have a hero complex or a complex to protect those, and something goes wrong, you can go to therapy and do all these things, but your complex is telling you that you cannot rest until you figure out what happened. Like you cannot until you figure out what actually happened.
That was the thing. He wasn't ready to let go. That's basically all a therapist is going to tell you. Is like you need to let go of your need to make this right. You know, and he just wasn't ready to do that. And I think until he realized like he was going to lose his own family because of this,
Right.
He was like, okay, I can let this go because I still have shit to lose.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
So,
And then when we got the plot twist of the other bad guy, I was like,
I know, right?
I was like, oh my goodness. I mean, this show
That
just
bitch was so good too.
right. I was like, oh, and the
what?
show does not miss. But
No.
but I don't know who's doing the casting. But I swear it's got to be like one gay person and one black woman who's seen strippers, because they are casting some good looking men. And then every scene of them in some jeans, I just be like, so y'all just put the ass in our faces for okay. And then that scene when he's in there interrogating that one guy, he's like, my dick's bigger than yours, and I was just like, I said that would if that had been me, that would have been a different scene.
As funny as that scene was, it was like the setup for the theme of the entire show. Like that was the second scene of the show. Like the first scene is his wife getting killed, and then the second scene was him getting in that dude's head. Because remember, it started with the racist getting inside the head of his partner. Remember, he's like, you know, calling him a monkey, and he lost his shit, and he was like, whoa. He's like, no, I got it. Anyway, it was good. So it was black as fuck. Right. It was beautiful.
Yes.
The psychology was on point. The killer was creepy. There was like, definitely gave you like Silence of the Lambs vibes, you know, like totally serial killer chic. You had a lot of politics. I mean, the show takes place in DC. The police chief clearly wanted to become mayor, you know.
Yep.
Which is going to be interesting if they have that happen in season 2. But yeah.
Right. And the way she wants to push these narratives about black people of just killing each other for whatever reason, I'm just like, see, no. And then the news reporter didn't help. And then the news reporter didn't help either. I want to like throw it at her. Like I was mad at her. He's telling you, no, this is not the way it happened. It's not the way to spin the story. But y'all gonna spin the story how y'all want to anyway. And that's the part that pissed me off. Like y'all don't care about the truth. Y'all just care about you know what sells. You know what gives y'all. You know.
Yeah, there's also the narrative of black protesters.
Yeah,
and, you know, just the fuck the police coalition. It was pretty interesting too, because you know, like it's always kind of there's a lot of that. You know, there was that situation where he was at the woman's birthday party, and you know, he's getting into it with one of the guests at the party. That shit was hilarious. You know, I forget exactly what the comeback line was, you know.
Right.
Talking about like, you know, I can't believe a black man would be a cop. You know, you might say you're progressive as much as you want to, but then one of these days, one of your bosses is going to tell you to do some racist shit, and you're going to do it, or maybe it's already happened. Like, and then he was like, you know, one of these days you're going to be at one of these, you know, parties,
and something's gonna happen to you. And then who are you gonna call? Oh, right.
I was like, there's some good lines in there. That was good. Or how about the time he goes back to his friend and he wants to apologize, and he's like, goes into this whole thing, saying, "Motherfucker, I can't believe I'm here. I wanted to tell you about this. I'm here for all the wrong reasons, and I need your help." He's like, you know, you had me at motherfucker. Okay.
Right. Yeah. That's how you know. That's friends right there, for real.
Yeah, no, I love it. Because that was like a throwback to what Jerry Maguire, like, you had me at hello. Like,
you had me at hello. Yeah, you had me at motherfucker. Okay.
You had me at motherfucker.
Yeah.
So it was just a good show all around, but I still like Agatha more.
Yeah.
I did. But Cross was one of the best in
serious
that
dramas. Yeah. And then there's another show called High Potential, where this lady, they call them high potential people, where everything is they look at the most smallest details to the highest extent. It's on I think it's on Amazon. No, that one's on Hulu.
Okay.
But it's a good show. It's High Potential is a good show. And also I went back and watched Elementary that came on years ago with Lucy
Oh.
Liu, and I can't remember the other guy's name.
Okay.
The British guy, but he's Sherlock Holmes basically in a modern world, and that's been a good show too. So
yeah. I've heard some good things about what was that show? I think it's on Hulu. I saw it advertised, English Teacher. It's kind of like a drama comedy about a gay English high school teacher. I just saw like this this skit where one of his students was coming out to him, he's like, I know that you're gay and I want some help, coming out to my friends. Like, don't talk to me. Go talk to some of your friends who are gay. You can see them, the ones who are swishy, talk to them.
Right.
Like, I don't know. Don't be coming out to me. That's some drama I don't need, man.
Right.
But I don't know. That kind of looked interesting. That a show that I guess centers, a gay teacher's experience. I don't know what that would be like, but I haven't seen it. I don't watch a lot of television, so I don't know. But apparently, at least those two, Agatha and Cross, are high up on each other's.
Yep.
Movies that came out this year, I'm just getting around to seeing Deadpool and Wolverine. It's clearly really good. What you call it? The Inside Out 2 was an excellent movie. Wicked is already, I think, the highest.
Right. Yeah, and honestly, I believe that's probably my favorite. I haven't seen Inside Out 2 yet, but I will say that Wicked is probably my favorite movie of the year.
Yeah. I mean, if you've seen Inside Out, you've seen Inside Out too. It's just a continuation.
Yeah, it's just with anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I mean, it was as good as the first, if not better. But I would say at least on par with the original. Just dealing with an older, Riley is older now. She's like going into high school.
Yeah.
So like it's, dealing with her going into puberty and all of that, trying to be, get in with the cooler, older kids, classic high school girl shit. So I like the setup better because of that age range issues. And, it's really interesting, really good. Also a lot of funny, we call it allusions to things where apparently they're like, they had an allusion to her favorite video game character or something. I just thought it was hilarious.
Oh yeah.
Or like her having a crush on some character in her mind lives. It's like, some hot dude. This is, I live rent free in her head. It's like, I was like, oh god, that's kind of funny. Okay. Some high school heartthrob. Yeah. Anyway, all that stuff is good. Yeah, so I it's hard for me to do those lists because I don't participate in culture much. What about video games? What would you say is on high up?
Oh my gosh. The year of video games for 2024 has been amazing. And it's gonna get better in 3 more days because Marvel Rivals comes out and it's got a big roster and the game is free. So if you got some room, if you got some space on your system for it, or if you got an external or whatever, I suggest you play Marvel Rivals. But my video game of the year is Black Myth Wukong. Like that game, it to be a Soul-esque, but not exactly a Souls kind of game, but to be different and just have the story is good, the gameplay is good. It's one of those games that I feel will go down in history as like the top 10 of everyone's on most people's list as our favorites. And we do have the Game Awards coming up in a week or two. So, but for video games, for me this year, Black Myth Wukong has been exceptionally done good and well. Trying to think what else came out this year that I played. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero was good. Sonic Generations with Shadow is good. I'm trying to think, is there anything else? I think everything else has either been a sequel, because there's Final Fantasy 7 2 Rebirth, but I didn't play that one.
Final Fantasy 2 Rebirth. Okay.
Yeah, and then I'm trying to think else. What else did I play this year? Oh, Metaphor has been good. There's been a lot of good gaming going on this year. Yeah, so video games themselves are amazing. Inside Out 2 tried to traumatize me, and I appreciate that at the same time.
Oh yeah, I was crying like a little baby when that came to me. When her friends came back, I was just like, we love you. Oh God. She dogged her friends out so bad, and then they didn't even care. I was like, oh God. Anyway, it was a good movie. It was a good movie. English. Oh, okay.
English Teacher is really good. An interesting point of view on being gay in a contemporary working environment.
Yeah, I've heard good things about it. I saw a few clips. I haven't.
He said instead of Elementary Thick Night, you should try Sherlock, the one with Cumberbatch. I've been looking for that one actually.
Have you? I've seen a few seasons of that
one.
Maybe 2, because they only have like 4 episodes per season.
Yeah, and also Interview with a Vampire. I have not seen the second season yet, but I've heard that it is just as good as the first, even better.
Yeah.
So I need to get somebody's AMC and watch that.
Yeah, I've heard good things about it too.
Yeah.
What was another one? From? I've not seen.
I have not seen that yet either.
I've heard a lot of good things about From.
Yeah, there's a lot that I have not sat down and just watched because other things going on. But when this break happens, I'll catch up on some good TV.
Yeah. Making sure I don't drop my tablet. I always anyway have it plugged in. But yeah, no, I think that was a pretty good summation. So you did TV, movies, games. I guess were there any books or comics that you were into this year?
Oh, so hold on right second. I wonder if I can reach it from here as I'm sitting down. Hold on. Reach one of them. I can't reach that one. Well, maybe I can. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay, I got it. All right. So, a friend of mine named Greg Elise, he has it's called Isana the Were Spider.
Okay.
And I am loving this because this is volume 2. I just finished. I haven't gotten to volume 2 yet, but I did finish volume 1. I was supposed to have done a review of it yesterday. But not Isana, who is the son of Anansi, the spider god. And then it took me a minute to realize what Greg did. Oh, you just put Anansi backwards and called him Asana.
Yeah,
like Alucard and Dracula. I was like, oh,
I get it too. Because Anansi is actually very popular in mythology lore. Like
yes, he is. Yeah, but I would tell all of y'all out there to go read this. It is a good series so far. I told him yesterday he is one of my favorites now. Like I wouldn't actually mind cosplaying him. The part where he turns into a half human, half spider hybrid. I mean, that's a lot of work in prosthetics, but makeup. But yeah. But I said, you got me merch that I could wear and promote? Because, I mean, the way that he wrote this character and the way that he set up the story and everything was just amazing. I'm like, dude, I did ask him one day, you ever think about getting an anime? He's like, no, not right now. And I understand his comprehension with that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, you are sitting on a good story, and it's kind of saddens me a little bit that more people don't know about this, and this should be. Yeah. I mean, honestly, this is like DC Marvel level stuff. I'm not just saying that. I'm being for real. Like the way that he wrote this character, the way that the story's going to play out. I'm like, dude, I would watch a whole web series of this, honestly, or something.
Well, I'll tell you what's been getting me into reading more are some of these AI bots that will help you read books.
Okay.
They read so much better than they used to. You know how they used to sound so robotic or whatever.
Yeah.
And now they recognize images. Like they can tell you what's in the picture. Like if there's a graph in the book, it'll describe it to you. So I can totally see a day where a robot could read to you what's happening in the panels of a comic book and actually narrate the story to you, which is amazing when I think about it. Because that's the only reason I haven't gotten into comics is simply because of the the barrier for entry for myself. But yeah, there's a lot out there. As far as what I've been reading, novel wise, I've been reading a series called the Confluence series. It's by this author. Can't remember his name, but the first book was called No Gods, No Monsters. And it was basically the setup of the story was a police shooting in DC. And a young woman who was trying to get justice for her brother who was killed. And as she, is, stirring up the pot, protesting and, gathering people to try to pressure the police department to release the webcam video of her brother getting shot. The webcam footage shows that her brother was a werewolf.
Oh.
I know.
That's interesting.
I know, right? And the police were shooting at it. They shot him and say, "Oh my God, it's like what the fuck? Where did it go?" The creature, and it was just a guy. Like they didn't realize, And so I remember when I brought that up. I remember Cream was like, "Okay, so turns out that the black dude is a monster. Like, what kind of bullshit is that?"
Right.
I was like, no. It gets a lot deeper. What happens is once the footage is leaked, people throughout the world start coming out as monsters, basically. And there's all these sort of different types of creatures start coming out, and it becomes like a protest between humans and monsters. And like thinking about stuff like Agatha and witches become a thing, and people start burning witches like in modern day time. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So, yeah.
And what's this book series called?
It's called The Confluence. No Gods, No Monsters is the first book. The second one is called We Are the Crisis, and I'm about to start that one. That one came out this year. Well, I think No Gods, No Monsters came out, and there's supposed to be a third one coming out next year. So totally worth it. It is written by a gay black author. I think he's maybe from the islands. I think he's from St. Martin, and yeah, totally awesome series. He's got some other books, but I can't suggest it more. It's really, really good. But on that note, I think we are going to end today. Make sure to join Swag tomorrow. I'm sure he's getting his show together as we speak. And then, of course, I'll be back on Wednesday. Cream is going to be back, and I'll have a rerun for Saturday. All right, we're going to call it there. Peace.
All right.